Top five, top five, top five.
Cinematopical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang, he's Nate. Today we are doing the top 5 director-actor combinations. And I said that backwards because of my list. I have the actors, then the directors.
Really? I have the directors and the actors.
Oomfa. So, you want to go first?
Sure. So number 5 on my list is the combination of Fincher and Brad Pitt. So we got Seven, you got Fight Club, and then they're not nearly as good as those Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
You're fucking right. That didn't even cross my mind.
But even though Benjamin Button definitely not as well received as the other two, it still has that Fincher flair, and it's got that Pitt flair. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, especially since we saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt, I mean, as famous as he is, still feels a little underrated. Yeah. I mean, he's really good. He's so interesting.
His acting chops underrated, not
for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe he's a little extra when he's screaming "What's in the box" in Seven, but
I think it was fine.
I mean, in Fight Club, I mean, he just knocks it out of the park. And him and like Fincher's like kind of dark, like undertone flair that he puts in all of his movies, even in Benjamin Button, which isn't that dark of a movie, still has that kind of like feel to it.
Yeah.
I love their combination. So like Pitt's charisma and Fincher's like penchant for the darker things. Big fan.
That's phenomenal.
Number 4 on my list, potential Zemeckis, is Hitchcock and James Stewart.
That's going to be a Zemeckis. And what is Zemeckis?
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
What a Zemeckis is someone like him says something, and on my list I have it higher, since I obviously have more love and appreciation for it. We'll save the conversation for then, because why talk about the same thing twice?
Right. Okay, so what's your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be Wes Anderson and Bill Murray.
Zemeckis.
Oh, out of all of them, we hit the same one.
Yeah.
We got Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder.
Yeah, that was like my close number 6. Like that was on the edge for me.
Young Frankenstein, my favorite comedy of all time. Blazing Saddles, very funny too. And you have the producers. Like I made a rule for myself: 3 movies or more. The count.
Yeah.
So those are the 3, and all of these 3 different movies, they're very different. The acting is different. The directing style is different. But what makes them funny together is the same throughout all 3 films, and I appreciate that, how they can keep that. And it kind of goes both ways.
Like a bisexual.
Because, like Young Frankenstein, that was mainly a Gene Wilder project brought to Brooks, but because they understand each other so well for making those other films, that it was no problem for Brooks to direct and make what I think is like top 10 best comedies of all time.
That's very good. So my number 3 is going to be Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Spielberg, best storyteller of all time in my opinion. I love the way he tells stories, and you mix that with Hanks's just like super relatableness, his likableness. It's just so hard to not like a Hanks character, and you mix that with Steven Spielberg's storytelling ability.
That's perfection.
Number 2 for me was my Zemeckis from earlier, Wes Anderson and Bill Murray. So obviously he stars in Life Aquatic, but he just pops up in all these he's one of the bellmen that's part of like the secret society in Grand Budapest. He's the dad in...
He's in every Wes Anderson.
Moonrise Kingdom. Sorry, I watched a Schmodown the other day where someone answered Moonlight Kingdom incorrectly, and now it's like stuck in my head. He's in every Wes Anderson movie, which is ultimately why I picked him, but I also just love all of his characters. Yeah. Like Royal Tenenbaums, he's just like the rejected older husband to Margot Tenenbaum.
The reason why I picked him, because you got your own Wilson's the brother to him,
Luke Wilson.
Yeah,
yeah,
the better Wilson in my opinion.
That's fair.
You got all these other people that play in all of his movies. I can remember every role Bill Murray's done.
Right.
You know, so.
And that's really kind of what nailed it down for me. Is as I started looking through all these roles, I was like, I remember that, because he stands out in all of them. You know, and like Bill Murray just has this special brand of like self-deprecating comedy that just, it really stands out in the Royal Tenenbaums and in Life Aquatic and in Moonrise Kingdom. But even in the other roles where he's not as prevalent of a character and he's really just kind of lending his voice, it's like, that's Bill fucking Murray.
Yeah.
You know? In a Wes Anderson movie. So it's like, love everything about it.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 3 is going to be probably Zemeckis, Jackson, Tarantino.
It is a Zemeckis.
Alrighty. Know where that's going. Next we got Martin Scorsese, Bob De Niro. I was going to go with Pesci, but you look at the resume, De Niro, they had some stinkers, in my opinion. Frankenstein, huge fucking stinker.
Facts.
On the other hand, you got Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Casino, Mean Streets. They're still coming out with movies.
Wow.
They knock it out the park every time they do. Almost.
Yeah.
But
How do you feel about the King of Comedy?
King of Comedy is not his best film, but still good.
Yeah.
Forgot one
So
too.
it's not his best film?
No,
Okay.
it's
I
not.
agree.
But yeah, you put these two together, and 8 out of 10 times you're getting magic. You know, like you look at it was the top 50 best films of all time, and these guys' names pop up together at least 4 times, I would say. So
Yeah.
you got to.
Yeah, no argument there. All right, so my number 1 was your number 3, which is Tarantino and Jackson. Tarantino's my favorite director of all time. I love his flair. You just throw in Sam Jackson's like in your face. Like he could be terrifying and hilarious, and he could be terrifying and hilarious at the same time. Yeah. He just does it so well. I mean, so like the 3 biggest standouts for me: Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, and Django.
Clearly.
And like
A little side note, got Jackie on there, but that's okay.
He'll be okay. But it's still just another example of their pairing, you know? And Samuel Jackson's characters in his movies are always just so, like...
Cool.
Like, they don't take shit from nobody. Yeah. Even when he's a slave in one of them. He still, like, doesn't really take shit from anybody, you know? I mean, they're just always bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know? And in a Tarantino movie where all your characters are just kind of, like, a little larger than life anyways, that stands out so much. And Jackson's personality just fits so well in the type of stories that Tarantino tells. And anytime that I hear Sam Jackson is going to be in a Tarantino movie, which hopefully is more, we'll see, I guess, I just get so excited. So
yeah, it's not every film you can go around saying big black dingus.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I want to keep it short and sweet. Without Tarantino, Sam Jackson wouldn't be the iconic person he is today.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple as that.
I mean, and just to throw something else out there, I mean, I'm not saying he hasn't had any other iconic roles, but let's think about some of the other roles that Sam Jackson has taken, you know? Like Deep Blue Sea,
Whack.
Snakes on a Plane,
Whack.
Black Snake Moan, which is basically a Tarantino movie. Like...
Stax Hayward and Goodfellas.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's way more out there than that. I mean, the guy's acting career is extensive, but like...
But yeah. So, my number 1 was your number 5, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
It's James Stewart and Alfred Hitchcock. You look at the top 10 best movies of all time.
There are a lot of them in there.
Vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. That's not a movie.
6.5 hours later.
Rear Window.
Oh, there it is.
And then you look at those genre pieces, even though you can call those genre pieces. You got films like Rope and Anatomy of Murder and all these other great films they've done together. And those are some of the best in that genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, these two together, separate, it don't matter. Everything they do is gold to me. So, you put them together, and it's like double gold. Double gold.
We talk about this a good bit with Hitchcock. I mean, if you want to call him a one-trick pony, that's fine, but like that's the best damn pony you're ever gonna see.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he is the master of suspense, and that was the only reason it was a little lower on my list. Is there's just less diversity with Hitchcock driving the James Stewart boat.
I would disagree because every film, James Stewart plays a different role. You know what I'm saying? In Rope, he's more of like, and for Hanks, a league of their own. You know, he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Which you've never seen James Stewart like that before. And then in Vertigo, he's this like man with like problems and fears and like vulnerability, but he still has that charm to him.
Right.
And then the Rear Window, you have a man that doesn't want to be holed down. He wants to get out to the world. He wants to, he's hungry. Every role is so different from the other one, and each character has so many layers, and you fall in love with each character for different reasons. So I would say, even though the genre isn't diverse, the people inside the films are so diverse. that it was clearly my number one without even thinking.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, tell us what you think down in the comment section below. This is Something Topical. Like, comment, and subscribe.